we are live, buddy. You can start when you're ready.
I don't want to start.
You don't want to do the starting? Alright. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome to our 2-Bit Circus Foundation live stream. I am Michael.
And my name is Robert.
Awesome. And today we have a fun, exciting activity from our playbook, the 2-Bit Circus Foundation playbook that you can find on our website, 2bitcircusfoundation.org. And we are being sponsored by Vans, which is allowing us to make these videos for you. So thank you to Vans. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about plants, all right? So Robert is going to go ahead and take over for me right now. And he's going to draw pictures and he's going to tell you what he knows about plants, all right? So let's leave it on here, bud, so you don't mess up in the holes on the table because of the wood boards, okay? Awesome. So make sure you're talking to them as you're drawing, okay? So you can tell them what you're drawing. All right. Go for it. Tell us about plants. What do you know about plants?
That they have to have a seed to grow.
Right. So seeds are what plants start growing from, right? And what do seeds look like?
Ovals.
Ovals. Kind of hard to see that a little bit. I can see it good. Okay, cool. Maybe later we'll put some color in there, right? So that way it'll pop a little bit more on the video. Now explain to them what you're drawing now.
A sunflower.
Okay, cool. And what was it? Were these the seeds down here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the seeds, and are they on top of the dirt? Are they underneath the dirt?
Underneath.
Okay, I see it now. Nice. So that's a sunflower. I'm gonna go let Cole out so he stops crying real quick. Keep telling them what you're drawing there.
I'm drawing the inside of it.
Awesome. That looks like a really neat flower. Can we add some color there so it pops up on video better so everyone can see? So Robert is drawing us a sunflower right now. I'm going to move it a little bit closer because of the glare. It's kind of hard to see. There you go. And he's going to add some color to it. Let me put it down so it doesn't poke holes, okay? Perfect. Go ahead, bud. They said they're excited to learn about terrariums and plants today. Awesome. It looks like a pretty sunflower, huh? And what else do plants have on them, Robert? Can you tell us their different parts as you're coloring? Like what part of the flower... I told you the answer already. Look at that. What part of the plant are you coloring right now?
The flowers.
The flower, okay. And what are some other parts of the plant?
Their veins.
Oh, they're veins? Okay, they look like veins, right? Do you know what you call those? Think about that while you color for a minute. I'm not going to tell you the answer right away. I know you know the answer. The little veiny things that are underground.
They're blood vessels.
Aw, they don't have that. Yeah, try though. Think about it. To give you a hint, it starts with an R. Oh, do you remember what it's called now? They're roots, exactly. They're called their roots. So their little veiny things that you find on the bottom are called roots. Okay. And what is this long piece right here that's connected to the flower? What is that called?
The stem.
The stem. Okay, can you write the names here so that way everybody on the live stream knows what they are? So that's a flower, right? Awesome. So that's the flower. And what is this part right here called? The stem. Excellent. And what were these things underneath called? The roots. Awesome. So we have the flower part, the stem, right? And we have the roots. Are there any parts of the plant that we're missing? What else do plants have on them besides flowers? What else comes out of the stem?
Thorns?
Thorns. Okay. You want to draw some thorns on there? And what do the thorns do?
They protect the plant.
Nice. So thorns protect the plant. Who are they protecting them from?
Animals.
Animals from eating them, right? Nice. You know how to spell thorns? T-H. O-R-N-S. Thorns. What else do they have coming out of their stem? What provides shade for us? I know you know this one. I'll give you a hint. They're color green.
The little like sticky stuff like on the stem.
How about we look here? I have a plant in front of us right here. Okay? And we can look at the different parts to help us out. Okay? Well, let Daddy open this up. You can put your hand in here too. You don't want to do that? Awesome. So how about we look here and see what parts you've matched out for us so far.
Oh, the leaves.
Oh, the leaves. That's what you forgot, right? So you forgot these wonderful green leaves up here. All right, so you want to draw some of those on there? L-E-A-V-E-S. The leaves. Awesome. So you told us what the thorns do, Robert, right? The thorns protect the plant from animals.
The leaves give them shade.
Okay, the leaves give them shade, or maybe they give us shade. What else do the leaves do for the plant? Do you know that? Do you know what the leaves do for the plants? Yeah, you don't remember what they do for the plant? Well, where do you usually find plants? Where do you find plants?
At gardens.
You find them at gardens, and where else?
At houses.
At houses. So really you find them at places that are outside.
And like in the jungle.
And in the jungle. And in the desert, right?
They only have a little bit.
They only have a little bit of plants in the desert. You're absolutely right. So, Robert, what do you think the leaves do? Because you usually find plants outside, right? And what is usually outside in the sky? During the day.
Birds.
Okay, birds. And those are animals, right? Birds are animals? And so the birds are going to try to eat the plants. And what stops them from being eaten? The thorns, right? So we got that down. But what do the leaves do for the plants? What's up in the sky? Like this kind of stuff that shines down on them.
The sun.
The sun, right? And so do you think the leaves are there because the sun is there? Uh-huh. And what are the leaves doing for the plant?
Giving it shade.
Okay, it's giving it shade on the ground underneath it to protect the roots and the soil from too much heat, right? So that way the water doesn't evaporate.
A little bit.
Uh-huh.
Or else then it's not gonna grow.
Uh-huh. Oh, so it needs to grow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you think the leaves help the plant grow? I think so, right? So the sun, can you draw a sun on your picture? So the sun is going to shine light down upon the plant. And the little leaves are going to give it energy, right? So the leaves are going to take the light from the sun. Let me see. The leaves are going to take the light from the sun that comes down, shooting down. Oh, we can't see the sun on there. All right, now we can. The sun is going to come shooting down light onto those leaves, right? And those leaves are going to take that sunlight and they're going to turn it into energy, carbohydrates and sugars and all that fancy stuff for the plant to get its food. Where does your food come from?
Plants.
Plants, good. Your food comes from plants and animals, right? You could eat animals too, but it comes from plants, like when you
Hey, piggies.
like when you like piggies, you like eating pork, huh? But you also like eating spinach, right? And spinach is leaves on a plant.
So
you're eating
then
the
you
leaf.
just take it off. And then,
Exactly, that's what you do. And if you had
I
a
don't want to eat that.
well, some plants you can't eat, but some you can. Okay, bud. So let's look here. Where'd you go? Come back over here, buddy. I need your help. Okay, so Robert's grabbing something really quickly. While he's doing that, if you look at the 2-Bit Circus Foundation playbook that we have, what this project calls us to do is actually start off with seeds. And you're going to put seeds into home terrariums and do a little bit of a science experiment where you're going to determine where plants grow best. So all of this stuff that I'm reviewing with Robert right now about the sunlight and the roots and how they get their nutrients from the dirt and from sunlight, students would be able to discover that by first doing an experiment, and they would put different terrariums in different locations around their house or around their classroom. So for example, you would make one terrarium where you would put it outside with sunlight and water it. Another terrarium you would put inside where there is no sunlight and you would water it. And then you would do other ones where you had no sunlight and no water, and vice versa. You would put one outside with the sun, but no water as well. So you would have a couple different terrariums, I think 4 or 5 that you would make. So that way you could see what kind of conditions plants need to live in order to grow. Robert studied this before, so he already knew a little bit about them, that plants need sunlight to grow, and they also need water and nutrients that they get from the ground through their roots here. So I was pulling apart the dirt out of this root system so that we can see the different roots. And this is what plants use to get nutrients.
They look like spider legs.
They do look like spider legs. They're all moving around. And these roots, Robert, these roots can travel and grow throughout the dirt. And their job is to go find nutrients for the plant. So they find water that they suck up into the roots so the plant can use them. And they also find nutrients from the dirt itself. And then they have another very important job that we didn't talk about. They also use the dirt and they use the roots to cling to the dirt. So that way they don't fall over.
So like they can like claw to the dirt?
Yeah, so they grab the dirt and they hold the plant steady so that way it doesn't fall over. And those roots are called the anchoring roots. Awesome, bud. Anything else you want to say about your picture there? Let's move it on to the camera so we can actually see what's going on there. And where does the plant come from? You said this already, but I just need to double check.
Seeds.
A seed, right? All right. Do you want to start building our terrarium?
Okay.
You're gonna color your sun first? All right, let's finish it up. But look, you can't see it on the camera, so people can't see what you're coloring there. All right, go ahead, finish that up.
A different yellow. Yellow, yellow.
That's a good advertisement right there, Robert. Inventing inspiration. I like that. Awesome. Finish coloring up. There is the yellow sun. That's really awesome. Awesome. Finish coloring up. There is the yellow sun. That's really awesome. Awesome. All right, you ready to plant our terrarium? Let's move this picture to the side.
Spider legs.
Spider legs. Okay, Robert. So we have 2 bottles here today. So again, we're not going to do the experiment today like the playbook calls, but you're more than welcome to take a look at that playbook. And if you have, yes, and if you have younger kids who don't know about plants, or even older ones who want to do some experimentation, they can try this out at home with different bottles. So we have 2 bottles here today. So again, we're not going to do the experiment today like the playbook calls, different treatments. But you're more than welcome to take a look at that playbook. And if you have, and if you have younger kids who don't know about plants, or giving them no treatments, who want to do some experimentation, they could try this out at home with different bottles and putting the bottles in different locations around the house. Okay, Robert. So let's go ahead and start putting together our first terrarium. Water and sunlight, giving the other one just sunlight or just water, or giving them no treatments. At the bottom of our terrarium, the first thing you want to do is add some sand or gravel and see if they grow. Okay, Robert, so let's go ahead and start. So first, let me backtrack a little bit. I wanted to cut this before we got on the video. So you can find a location on the bottom of our terrarium. The first thing you want to do is add some sand size or gravel for us to start with. I cut it already. So first, let me backtrack a little bit. I wanted to cut this before we got on the video. So you can find a location on the bottle, just poke a hole with scissors and cut around it. Okay. So I thought now we're going to take some of our gravel. And here, Robert, you're going to do this. Pour some gravel in there, not a lot. Just put a little bit so it covers the bottom. Okay. Just put that down. Okay. Do you think that's enough? So now we're going to take some of our gravel. And hey, Robert, you're going to do a little bit of some gravel, not a lot. Just put a little bit so it covers the bottom. So the reason why you want to put a little bit of gravel on the bottom is so that way the plant doesn't get too much water and you don't rot out a little bit of this gravel and you don't rot out the roots. So the reason why you want to put a little bit of gravel on the bottom is so that way the plant doesn't get too much water and you don't rot out here. And you don't rot out the roots of the plant. I know, it's funny. Okay, he doesn't even drink. I'm going to take that away from you. So, it's a distraction. All right. Yeah. Okay, here. So after you put some gravel in there, what do you need next? Funny. He doesn't even drink soda. So,
Good.
yeah. Okay, so after you put some gravel, it has seeds here. So your suggestion is that we just put the seed in the gravel? What else does the plant need besides that? So you just want to take the seed? I have seeds here. So your suggestion is that we just put the seed in the gravel? Think about it. What else does the plant need besides that? Now you're thinking, okay. So if you reach behind me here, I have a little bag of dirt. Think about it.
A big bag.
Okay, now you're thinking. Okay, sure. So if you reach behind me here, all right, have a little bag of dirt. Reach in there and grab some dirt.
A big bag.
Put that dirt in there? Okay, sure. It's a big bag of dirt. All right, you want to reach in there and grab some dirt? You don't like getting dirty in there? I know, it's wet. Come on, grab a chunk right there. Watch that. You don't like getting dirty, I know it's wet. Grab a chunk like this. Watch that. He goes like this. Well, because I don't want to make too big of a mess here.
Why don't you
So I just want to put a little bit of dirt in there.
And you got
I don't want to make too big of a mess here. gonna put a little bit dirt in there.
And you got a mess already.
You're on video, knock it out. You're on video, knock it out.
That's enough.
You think that's enough?
That's
Okay.
enough.
You think that's enough?
Why didn't you put the seeds then?
That's enough.
Why
That's a
why
good
didn't
question.
you put the seeds then?
So some seeds. That's a good question.
Oh, so then you
Some seeds.
Put it on top and
Some
then
seeds-
then you need a little bit of water. Put it on top and then when you put a little bit of water, it
Maybe.
drops down.
So look at seeds are coming all sorts of different sizes. Seeds are coming all sorts of different sizes. And I'll show you some of these seeds. These seeds are really tiny. Put your hand there. Put your hand there. So that's a bunch of different seeds. Seeds there. So they're really tiny. So some seeds after you put the dirt, Robert, with your finger, and then you'll poke a hole like that, and you'll put the seed in there, cover it up. Some seeds, they just like to be sprinkled on top of the soil. So you have to know a little bit about the different kinds of seeds that you have. Okay? So in the experiment, what you do is you're going to create an environment for your plant in a terrarium. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I just realized, thank you for pointing out, I have the chat to the side. I have audio issues going on here. I don't understand why. So let me see what's going on here. That's I think the problem is now solved. Is the problem solved now? Awesome. I apologize for that. It appears that my setup this morning decided to activate the microphone from the laptop as well as the GoPro I have hanging.
May I put the seeds in?
So, thank you. I didn't notice that because it was down on the menu here. But regardless,
May I put the seeds in?
I apologize for that issue. Yes, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put the seeds in. Awesome. Here, you could sprinkle a lot more than that in there. Not the whole bag though, just some. Okay. There you go. And so these particular seeds right here, they like to be on the top and just covered a little bit, Robert. So can you go ahead and push with your hand, push the dirt over the seeds, so that way we could cover them up a little bit. Awesome.
I'm a virus hand.
Okay.
Got you. I'm gonna virus you. Ha ha ha.
Awesome. Okay, bud. So look here. Can you see any more seeds on the top of the surface?
You're virus. No. I only can spot 10.
You can spot 10 seeds there? Well, let's make sure they're covered up. They're covered up nice and good. Okay, you want to put some more seeds in there?
Hello?
Shake a little bit more. Ooh, okay. So now we got to cover them up. So let's grab a little bit more dirt. You want to grab some more dirt and put it on there? Okay. Good job. Put a little bit more dirt on there.
I'm virus hands. I'm Mr. Virus Hand. I'm the king of virus. You're my boy.
Okay, bud. Finish putting dirt. Finish putting the dirt there.
Okay, I'm finished. I'm Mr. Virus.
Okay, are you done?
I'm a
Mr. Virus. I don't think there's any viruses in this.
Ha.
All right, let's make sure we cover that all up. Get a little bit more dirt. I have rocks and dirt mixed in here. Let me just make sure I get enough. Enough dirt to cover those seeds. All right. Now the next thing that you're going to do with your terrarium after you have the seeds planted is you're going to put a little bit of water into there, right? To make sure that the seeds are well watered. Okay? So don't pour all of it, but just enough and sprinkle it all around. There you go. Put a little bit over there. That's good. And just in case you overwatered it a little bit, that's why at the bottom we put the gravel, so the seeds and the soil will not have too much water in there. And then we're going to take the lid, the top,
Are these dialed rocks? Oh, yippee, I got dialed
and then you just want to kind of pressure fit the lid into the bottom of the terrarium, like such. So the reason why you put the lid or the top of the bottle onto the terrarium is so that way, as the water evaporates, you could already see, I think, some condensation up here from some water.
These were not dialed rocks.
Hey, Robert, sit down.
I can read.
Robert, sit down, please. Sit down. Okay. The reason you put the top of the soda bottle on there is because that way, as the water evaporates, it's going to rise like it normally does, and then it'll condense on the plastic and turn back into a liquid. By doing that, as the liquid combines again as the water combines into a liquid again, and it gets heavy enough, it's going to drop back down into the water like rain. So you're creating a little environment that the plant can self-sustain and live in without having that water escape. So the water is going to go through the water cycle. It's going to evaporate, condense, and then fall back down. So in the book, the playbook, what you want to do with this terrarium is you want to set it up as is, and then you're going to make a couple of these. So you can make 3, 4, 5 of them if you like. And your experiment is to place them around different parts in your house, some outside, some in windows, some in no light at all. Add water. Robert, please. You're going to add water to them, and some of them not water, and you're going to see what conditions the plants, the seeds, will grow best in. So that's one thing that you can do with this. You can make a little experiment, make terrariums. Another thing that you can do is maybe you don't want to do a science experiment and make terrariums. Maybe you just want to have plants around your house and you're looking for pots and a way to decor your house without having to make large expenses. So you could take another soda bottle. This one I'm going to cut a little bit higher up so I have a larger pot for the plant. Why is this echo back?
Is that my phone?
Got it. Is everybody okay to hear, or am I still having audio issues? I apologize for any issues that we're having today. This is weird because it's the same setup that I've been using. So I don't understand why we have any issues, but we will keep on pushing through because I don't think there's anything more I could do right now to figure this out. All right, so another thing that you could do besides doing an experiment, if you don't want to do the science experiment, I know I'm backtracking a little bit, but I'm trying to remind myself of my train of thought. You don't have to do a science experiment if you don't want to. You can also just make decor for around your house using bottles as a recycled pot. So that's what we're going to do with this one. I'm going to cut it a little bit higher. Let's see if I can do this with this, or if I need a knife. So right now I'm just cutting the bottle in half. For this project that I'm going to do, you don't actually need the top end of the bottle, so that could just go into recycling. I just want the bottom half. Okay, so I'm going to use that as a clear pot. Again, we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to add a little bit of gravel to it. Another one, but this one's going to be a decorative pot. It's not going to be for science. So maybe we could design it so you could start thinking about that. You want to put something around it like paper and do some designs or drawings? That would look really cool, huh? Okay, so on the side here, let's grab a sheet of paper and let's start drawing something maybe that we could put on the side there. Okay. So you're going to put a little bit of the gravel in again. Make sure that it's even, just about.
I'm gonna go twice.
Okay. And then we could estimate where exactly we want our plant to be. If you want the plant to sit a little bit higher. If you want the plant to sit a little bit higher out of the container or into the container. I'm going to choose to have mine sit a little bit higher, so I need quite a good amount of dirt to put in there. Okay, so I'm going to use that excess dirt that I pulled off of the roots to start it off. Measure more. Awesome. Little more dirt in there. I think that's a good height to start our plant off. So I'm going to leave the plant in there and grab more dirt and fill up around the roots with the remaining amount of dirt that I have. Alright, just about done planting the plant here. Looks like I lost my helper again. It's alright.
Get something to trace.
You're supposed to be drawing me a picture right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna trace it as a picture.
Oh, okay, so you're getting something to look at while you draw? That's cool.
I'm gonna trace it.
Alright, so let me clean up a little bit of mess here. I have the plant about potted. And now what we could do, you could leave it like this if you want. I kind of like the way it looks where you can see the soil, and then as the root system grows in, you'll be able to see the roots and it'll make a nice natural design here. But if you don't want to go that route, you could also design your planter any way you want. So you could draw exactly on here, you could paint on here. In our case, we're going to draw and then we could tape around the edge a nice picture of anything we like. So Robert is going to come back over here once I clean this up, and he could show you what he's drawing for our terrarium. Dr. Leah Haynes says, none of you should expect a 6-year-old to hold their attention for an hour. I can't even expect myself to hold my attention for an hour either. So, I'll be right back. Robert, can you move over on camera so they can see what you're drawing there? Okay. And I'm gonna just go get some tape and hot glue, okay? So why don't you tell them what you're drawing? Oh, you get that for me? Thank you.
A African Jeep.
A Jeep from Africa, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Like a safari Jeep?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So that's what you're drawing here? Nice. Okay, I see the shape there. And how did you get that shape?
I traced it. I did it like this.
Uh-huh, nice, nice. Okay, now what else are you gonna draw in there? Add color to it. Yeah, this is another note here. Thank you to some other people who are pointing out. A lot of times, I was a high school teacher, and a lot of times people think that high schoolers are in class and they're working as hard as they can for an hour, maybe in an hour and a half, depending on what kind of system you're on. 2 hours for some schools, they have classes for 2 hours. But teaching happens in very short, not with the noise real quick. Teaching happens in really short bursts of time. So whenever I try to lecture as a teacher, I would try not to go over 15 or 20-minute intervals. So I would do 15 or 20 minutes of instruction where I'm talking and teaching to the kids. And then the other time, the kids are actually doing work and trying to solve problems on their own. Actually having the kids do one thing for an entire hour is very challenging, regardless of their age. And that applies to adults too. Even in adult learning, maybe you sit at your office meetings and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So just keep that in mind.
I'm done with my safari Jeep.
You're done. Okay, let's cut that out now. Can you cut that? You don't have to cut it out by the shape, but maybe just cut out on the top here. You want to do that? Get some scissors. And just make sure they can see what you're doing there on camera. Okay, try to cut as straight as you can, right? Cool. And now what I'm thinking, we could take this picture that Robert drew, and we can tape it around the edge there to make a cool little design, and maybe he can put this in his room or on our dining room table. What do you think, bud? You want this plant to go in your room by your window, or do you want it to go on the dining room table?
My room.
In your room? Okay, cool.
I mean dining room table.
So where do you want it to go?
Dining room table.
Okay.
No, I want it on your head. On your head.
Awesome. All right, can I see the pair of scissors really quickly?
Wow.
Okay. Oh, can we, let me see that. There you go. Thank you. I'm just going to cut out here a little bit smaller, so that way we could get a better fit around the planter shape. Awesome. So I think that cutout is a little bit better. I think it'll fit a little bit nicer on there. So then you can take tape or glue, and we could glue that on there, tape it on there. Robert, which do you think would be better to use, tape or glue? What do you think, tape or glue? I think glue would work a little bit better. Don't do that though, because I think on the microphone that noise will be really loud for the people. Okay. So I put my hot glue gun in. I want the hot glue gun to warm up. I think it'll look nicer if I hot glue Robert's picture to the planter. Another thing that you could do, even though I said I wasn't using the top here, you don't have to necessarily recycle it. Obviously you can, but you could also make another one out of that. That's why I just thought this would look really cool. Again, you can put some gravel in at the bottom. Add the dirt. I want to do this without making the container tip over. By any chance, do you have a hole punch? No? Alright. So I just thought of this as I was finishing up the picture for the other one, that it would be really cool if we took this upside down looking one here, added some dirt there, make sure this doesn't fall over and make a mess. And if I had a hole punch right now, I would take the hole punch and I could punch a hole on either side, and then I could hang string, and I could have a hanging little terrarium basket as well, a little pot, and I could put another plant in there and hang it, and that would be another thing to do. I also like this idea also. I saw the bottle cap on the bottom. If in the case that you overwater the plant and it has too much water, you could actually open this up a good amount, and the excess water would be able to just drain out there. So you would never have to worry about overwatering your plant. You could also turn the cap in more or less if you wanted to change the amount of drainage that you were going to allow for your plants. So that's a way that you could customize a little planter for your particular type of plant that you put in there. Awesome. Now, I wanted to share with you, I live in a desert climate, so there's a good amount of plants that cannot actually grow outside here. But one of the types that do are succulents and cacti as well. So something that I like to do with the plants, the succulents and cacti I have out here, is that these can actually regrow just from a small little section of the plant. These aren't called like leaves. What would you call them? The leaves? They're still called leaves? Okay. So I would take a little section of the succulent, and what I do is I cut it off, or sometimes I even pull it off, and then you can replant them into moist soil. And I know it doesn't look like much, this little piece, but that little piece, that little leaf that has no roots on it, there are no roots on here, will actually, when it's in water and soil, will actually start regrowing itself. So you can get infinite amount of plants without a seed on certain species. Succulents are one of the ones that do it, and they do it really well. So don't tell my neighbors, but sometimes when I find a plant in their front yard that I like, I'll rip a little piece off, and then I can take it to my house, and I have a new plant that way. And depending on the species, they can grow really quickly as well. So those are some cool things that you can do if you're at home right now. And You might have some succulents. Just try that. Take a plant that you have that you bought somewhere. Just rip a couple of the leaves off, replant them in little homemade planters, terrariums like this, and watch them grow. They do a really good job. All right, I'm gonna see if my hot glue gun's hot enough now. Yeah, you could do that, Holly the Jolly Rancher. Why don't you make a balcony garden? That'd be really cool, something you could do at home. If you have succulents, again, it's not going to cost a lot of money because you could just reproduce your plants. We have a little guest here. My dog is being nosy.
No, my dog.
Okay, your dog. I'm sorry. You picked him. Okay, put that down. It's a 29th, I know, but let's put that down. We're almost done here, okay? Can you put a little bit of glue on your hot glue bit? A little glue on the back of the paper here. Do it all around the edge.
It's not working.
Okay, let me see. Maybe it didn't get hot enough yet. Oh, it is. It's just hard to squeeze. Okay, let me move some of this stuff out of the way so we can see here. All right, can you squeeze it? It's a little bit hard to squeeze, so squeeze kind of hard. And then you're going to move around. Okay, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. All right. Around, around, around. Let me see. Make it squeeze harder.
Oh.
And then we can glue that on there. So, I think it looks kind of nice. What do you all think? The little car, kind of hard to see with the glare. Little car. I think we need to do a little bit more work on there and cut it out, Robert, to make it fit better the shape. The bottle's weird because it has that curvature in there, which is preventing it from sticking well. So, this is a really simple project that you can do at your house. Robert, put the toy knife. What is wrong? What are you doing today? Okay. Okay. So this is a simple project that you can do at home with things that you have laying around your house. You might need a couple things if you don't have soil. I mean, you could go to your garden if you have a little garden, or the front of your yard. You could dig a little bit of dirt and use the dirt from outside to make these little terrariums. You can do a science experiment with your kids, so you could teach them photosynthesis, you could teach them the water cycle, or you could just do them for decorative art pieces and design them any way you want. You could add curvature to the plastic bottle and do many different things, anything that you like. Okay, what do you think, Robert?
That one's little.
Yeah, that one's little, but it's gonna grow more. Remember how it grows the roots from the bottom? Mm-hmm. And then I thought, well,
look at that rock.
That rock, cool. So you could also put rocks, Robert. Okay. Robert noticed that there were a couple rocks on the top of the soil here, because I pulled this particular soil out of my fish tank. But you could put a thin layer of gravel on the top as well, so you don't have necessarily all the dirt here. You could add gravel and add a design to it as well and use that as a table centerpiece if you like. So again, there's many different things you could do with them. You could do simple art projects to keep you busy and to practice your artistic abilities. You could decorate them and design them with different drawings or paintings or anything that you can do artistically. You can also test them out for science projects by studying the water cycle, photosynthesis, plant structures. You could look at the roots, the leaf structure, stems. You could try different types of plants. Maybe some type of plants grow better in these terrariums than other. But that's all we have for you today. Again, please check out the 2-Bit Circus Foundation website.
Wait.
2bitcircusfoundation.org. And you can check our playbook out there, as well as find
Jelly Bean Rock.
our live streams. All right, so thank you for tuning in. Robert wants to show you one other thing before he goes today. He likes to collect rocks, so he's going to show you what he's calling jelly bean rocks. Go ahead, Robert.
I only have one. one jelly bean rock so far.
Okay, show them on the camera what it looks like. Your head's in the way.
No.
There you go. Awesome, cool rock. So maybe we could take these rocks, Robert, and you could sprinkle them on top of your plant when we put them into your room. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in today. And we'll have another live stream for you from To the Circus Foundation
This one's like coconut jelly
tomorrow,
bean rock.
again at 10 a.m. Thank you, everyone.